Well, hi folks, and welcome to the Old Classic Car channel. Today you find me down in Herefordshire. Brightwells auction room is just behind me there, because coming up very, very soon is the next classic car and indeed modern classics auctions here at the Brightwells Auction Centre. The auction itself opens for online bidding on Saturday the 15th, I believe it is, and it runs until the following Wednesday. So we're a few days before that. There's still a fair bit of setting up going on in the building over there, but I thought it'd be fun to come and have a look round and just see what cars are here and going into the auction at the weekend. There are some very, very interesting cars indeed. Some nice pre-war cars as well, so we like a bit of that. And there's also some heavy metal, a big old Scammell, and I believe an AEC. So yeah, a bit of everything in this particular video, so please stick with it, watch it all the way through, and at the end of the video let me know in the comments which car or indeed commercial vehicles you would most like to take home with you, and I'll have a think and I'll see if I can come up with a favourite as well, or at least a top 2 or 3. So anyway, without further ado, let's get inside and have a walk around the auction room and just see what cars are going up for auction at the weekend. Okay, here we go in the hallowed hall here at Brightwells, and I can already see some lovely old cars. Details on the Brightwells website, of course. Buyer's premium 12% plus VAT. I'll include a link to the auction website itself in the description of this video, and then any information you want to find, you'll get it all there. Quite a comprehensive catalogue. Anyway, let's amble over in this general direction and make a start on the cars that are here. And here we have a left-hand drive Mustang, a convertible version of a Mustang no less. This one on a G registration, so what would that be, about 68 or early 1969. Quite neat. It's got those pressed wheel trims on it, not the usual alloy wheels, so it makes, yeah, very, very nice. Yeah, interesting. 4-seater. If you're after a classic 4-seat tourer, you could do a lot worse than one of these. Auto box. Say all the details of each of the cars are given on the Brightwells website, so I can have a cursory look around, but for real information, if you want to get some in-depth info, have a look at the website. But look at this. This is a rare Bristol. Interestingly, registration is 406, but this isn't a Bristol 406. This is the Bristol 405, a 6-cylinder car. Quite unusual, being the 4-door saloon. There was also the 404, which I think was a 2-door. The 405 is, as you see here, a 4-door saloon. What a great looking car that is. Tiny little fins on the back. An incredible rear window, comprising 3 pieces. Yeah. Very, very distinctive car, these Bristols. Lovely shape. I think they're about 2 litre, something like that. Let's have a quick look inside, carefully open. No, it's locked, but we can peer in through the window nevertheless. Yeah, very, very agreeable interior in there. Very curvy body, actually. Really quite a handsome car. I think I saw one of these down at Bicester Heritage a little while ago. Yep, there we go, the Bristol 2 litre. Little Lucas 476 lamp in there. Yeah, what a cool looking car that is. One of those fairly sort of obscure saloons from the 1950s that you hardly ever see out and about in the wild, but here we do have one. Fantastic. Yeah, that is a really, really interesting car. Of course, Bristol with links to the aviation manufacture industry. Who remembers the Bristol Brabazon down at Filton? But yeah, what a cool car that is. And while we're on the subject of cool cars, over in this corner of the building here, we have this incredible Napier. This dates to 1912, the year of the Titanic. So that was a fairly infamous year, but what a beauty this is. There we go. Napier. Proper vintage car. Look at these stunning headlamps there. What an epic looking car that is. That is really, really nice. I know my youthful assistant would approve of this one if it was in the garage at home. Look at the screen arrangement on there. So you've got these incredible curved corner screens, a two-piece screen in the centre, scuttle mounted lamps here. That is really, really nice. Looks like an older restoration that's sort of mellowed in a bit. So when would that have been painted? Maybe, I don't know, possibly the 1960s. But yeah, fantastic. Lovely hooter, the Apollo. Oof, very nice too, look at that. Guessing this is possibly a toolbox, or oh no, it's a battery box. We've got an isolator switch on the back there. Yeah, fantastic. Look at the buttoned interior in there. That is, I've never seen one of those before. Lovely diver's helmet rear lights. Rack on the back. The window is open so we can have a peer inside. Got the smoker's hatch in the roof there, because everyone smoked a pipe and indeed wore a hat in those days, hence the lofty roof on cars of this era. Yeah, that is pretty special. I love the view out. It's almost like looking out of a tram or something like that. Wow. Lovely, the old carriage type handles, the old carriage type door handles. Yeah, what a treat. Is that the car that you would choose? Like I say, watch the video, let me know in the comments which car or cars really float your boat. I can see a really rare little grey car there, but we will come back to that a little bit later. Let's carry on this row over here. And what do we have over here but an immaculate Triumph Roadster. Yeah, the old Bergerac spec Triumph Roadster. An amazing looking car, huge long bonnet, quite a curvy tail on it as well. Seating for 2 or maybe 3 at a push inside the car itself, but of course you've got the mother-in-law seat, the dicky seat in the back here, so you can fold this back. You've got a seat there, and the rear seat passengers also have their own protective windscreen which goes that way, so yeah, as long as you don't mind being out in the elements, you can carry people in the back as well. Yeah, what a stylish looking car. Now, beautiful wooden dashboards, and again, original registration, also a 406, just like the Bristol. But yeah, great to see original registration numbers. It's always bad when you see them being split from their original numbers. Yeah, fantastic interior, beautiful, proper wood dashboard. No cheap veneers in here. Yeah, that really is a stunning, stunning car. Love the old Lucas lamps. Yeah, certainly a very, very impressive car. Just post-war these were, sort of late 40s, beginning of the 1950s, that kind of era. Yeah, a stunning example. And here we have the good old MGB GT, the rubber bumper GT, this one with body coloured bumpers on it. You don't see that very often. So it's on a T registration. It's about 77-ish, 78, somewhere around about there. MG Car Club member. Good starter classic for someone there. Again, if you're interested in any of the cars featured in this particular video, please check out the website where you'll get all the details, the specific condition information. You know, and I always recommend actually coming to look at a car first before viewing. This really is a guide, an intro to the cars that are coming up in the auction, but like I say, there's no substitute for actually getting down here and looking at the cars in the metal before putting in a bid. The viewing day, I believe, is Monday and Tuesday next week. So this Saturday coming up is the 15th of February. That's when the registration and the bidding's open. And public viewing will be the beginning of next week, and the auction runs till Wednesday. The cars aren't all fully in position yet, it'll be a bit more organised than this, but I wanted to get down here and just get all this recorded in plenty of time before the auction actually starts. Here we have a super little Fiat Panda. These are getting really popular. Nice back to basics motoring, great, very jazzy interior. I like that, very original looking too. Opening roof. Yeah, the Fiat Panda 1000 Fire Edition. Great little car if you just want a little car to bimble around, nip into town. You know, what a perfect car, great visibility. It's got a rear wash wipe so you can see out the back, but yeah, easy to park, nice and light to drive, I would imagine. Great on fuel. These are the sort of cars that should be being built now, not all these oversized EVs, in my opinion. Anyway, let's stick with the older cars, the more interesting things. And here is a glorious Cluely of the, early 1920s. It's a manufacturer you don't hear much about nowadays. This would be perfect for some of the VSCC light car events. Yeah, I do like that a lot. It's been coach painted at some point in its life, as was pretty common with cars of this age. So you got 4 seats, so yeah, plenty of room in there for what is a fairly small car. Yeah, lovely, a bit different to sort of your Bullnose Morris and that kind of thing. Austin's Morrises you do see fairly often at vintage events, but Cluely's, well, this is the only one of these I've seen in a very long time, I think. Rightio, and here we have a left-hand drive Mercedes-Benz SL. This is the R129 series Mercs. These were really nicely put together. This one's got the hardtop on it, so presumably the soft top is under the panel there, hidden away in there. But yeah, left-hand drive. I wonder what the story is with this one. Yeah, really good car, very, very comfy, perfect for the sunny weather that we're enjoying at the moment. Or maybe not, but I'm promised there will be some sunny weather along soon. And alongside that, another classic cabriolet, or convertible rather, this one, an MGB of course, MGB Roadster on AP registration. This one's on chrome bumpers. And it's got the side marker lamps, which are usually signs of a car that was originally exported. We had a MGB, rubber bumper MGB Roadster, which was originally destined to go to the USA, and that had these side marker lamps on as well, front and also on the back. Although ours, being a US spec car, had the triple wiper arrangement. This has just got the 2 windscreen wipers on it, so I'm not quite sure how this one ended up with the export market markers on the front and rear wings, but they do suit it actually, they really do. Oh, looks pretty good in there. So there'll be loads of photos of each of the cars on the Brightwells website, so check that out. Yeah, very, very nice example in black. Yeah, so like I say, there are actually 2 auctions starting this Saturday. One for classic cars and a few motorcycles, and also running alongside it an auction of modern classics. And a number of the cars are here mixed in with some of the older cars, and I think included in the modern classics auction is this, a BMW 7 Series. It's one of the E38 era of 7 Series BMW. This is probably quite a late one on a 51 plate. This one has been debadged. It's a manual. That must be fairly unusual. Can't quite see in there, I don't think. But yeah, it's a manual gearbox. So presumably it's got the straight 6 in it. Yeah. Quite a handsome car, I think. My dad used to run one of these. He had a 750IL from this era. I had a couple of 750ILs from the previous era, the E32. which was always interesting to compare the two. Right, back to somewhat older cars, and this magnificent Rolls-Royce 2530. Stunning car. I do love these. We've got the Spirit of Ecstasy there. Adjustable slats on the radiator to control the cooling while you're driving along. So if you were stuck in traffic, you would open those up to get some extra cooling into the radiator. Then once you're on your way, you could close it down a bit to sort of restrict the cooling. But yeah, fantastic. Yeah, glorious Lucas lamps on this one. But yeah, what a fantastic car. Quite an interesting body on it as well. It really does roll over. Of course, this is from an era when you would go along to your Rolls-Royce agent and buy the chassis of your choice, and then you would nominate your favoured coach builder to clothe it in whatever bodywork you wish to have, whether it was an open tourer like this or a saloon. Quite a few of them were bodied as hearses originally, although those cars tended to be rebodied later in life. But yeah, quite a handsome motor car, this one. Interior looks very original too. Yeah, very comfortable way of getting around, I think. The side lights probably a little bit later. They've been retrofitted, probably in the 1950s, I would have thought, just for an extra bit of illumination. Oh yeah, what a handsome car. Next to the gorgeous vintage Rolls-Royce, we have this super little MGYA saloon, or the Y-type saloon as they were marketed when they were on sale. And then when the revised YB came along, these were retrospectively known as the YA. So this would be, what, late 40s, maybe just the beginning of the 1950s. Certainly an interesting car. Older paint job on it, but it's certainly got a lot of patina. Nice cars these are. I do like these. There was also the Tourer version of these were also produced. You don't see too many of those around now. Yeah. What a handsome car. If memory serves, the body shell was based on that of the Morris 8 Series E, but with revised tail and front end, of course. But yeah, quite a handsome car. I do like these a lot. I'm not sure if this one's open. It's rear hinged doors, the old suicide so-called doors. There we go. And that actually opens really nicely. Got some trim stacked up in the back. So maybe it's the door trims. Lovely seats in there. Headlining's good as well. So nothing to do there. So this could be a recommissioning job. I don't know if it's a runner or not. I'm sure it'll say online somewhere. But this could have the makings of a very characterful just post-war saloon. Doors shut beautifully, actually. That is very impressive. Let's try this one. Again, no drop. You always want to be checking the door pillars on cars like this, and of course the sill, the step area. Have a good look around here. This one, on the face of it, looks pretty good. Very good, actually, from what I can see so far. And we've got some door trims in there. Yeah, what a lovely, cosy interior. I can certainly see the appeal of something like that, and it's the kind of car, again, you don't see too many of them around. Everyone tends to preserve the sporty cars before the saloons, and by the time people cotton onto the saloons, most of them have gone. But this one would make for a great project. I don't think it would be huge money either. So yeah, that is definitely worth looking at, I would suspect, if you're interested in looking for a little project. Right, and alongside that we have the good old Morris Minor Traveller. This one is on an X registration, so I can only think that it spent some time abroad and then came back in the beginning of the 1980s. Of course, back in those days, DVLA would just slap a current registration number on an old car, even one that was clearly much older than an X-Reg. Whereas now you get age-related plates. I'm sure you could apply for an age-related plate on this one. Of course, the wood is structural on these, so you have to have a good look around. This one's been varnished, but you'd want to have a good check of all that. Usual thing, really. Have a poke around underneath, check out the cross member and the sills, that kind of thing. But this one, again, looks like it's got the makings of a nice car. Paintwork looks pretty original, not perfect, but very original. I think that would polish up quite nicely. A few bits to do there, but nothing untoward. Yeah, nice. Got the makings of a nice user, that has, I think. Dad ran a Morris Minor Traveller for a number of years, and he really loved it. Okie dokie, next up we have another classic Brit here, the Mini Clubman Estate, complete with the wood-alike down the side. Yeah. Very nice, unusual car. What's this? So where's this coming from? South Africa, I would suspect. Learned to drive on a Mini Estate, one of the ones with the slightly earlier with the original Mini front on it. This one looks to be in much better condition than the one we had. A couple of little bits here and there, but yeah, rare to find a very original one of those to play with. And on the end here, another classic car from the BMC stable this time. The good old Austin Healey Sprite Mark 1, the Frog Eye Sprite, or Bug Eye Sprite as they were called in the US of A. Pretty cool little cars. These started out with a 948 engine. I think this one's got a 1275 version of the A series engine under its bonnet. The whole front end lifts up, making it a lot easier to work on compared to some cars. Got some extra badging on here. Austin Healey Club and the Automobile Association. There we go, Austin Healey Sprite. So this is a Sprite Mark 1. The Mark 2 introduced the midget style look to them, but this is the original, the Mark 1, with a lift out side screens, no winding windows in these, or indeed exterior door handles. Yeah, lovely cosy little interior in there. A lot of fun to drive these are. I do like that steering wheel as well. Proper period steering wheel. That looks just perfect. Yeah, I like that. And over here is Land Rover Corner. I think this is a Series 3, I think. Looks to be very original. Let's have a quick peer in there. So this is a short wheelbase. Looks like it's got a new canvas tilt on it. That really sets it off a treat. Very nice. A few bits and bobs down there. I'm not sure what they come with. Let's just have a look actually. Got some bumpers over here. Yeah, I'm not sure what they belong to. I wonder if these are the parts that are out of... There's an old Morris which we haven't looked at yet with the gearbox out. So maybe that's what they belong to, but we'll have a look when we get round there. Somewhat later Landy here, Defender. The short wheelbase here. A very vivid colour indeed. You wouldn't lose that in a car park, would you? And over here on an 04 plate we have the Bentley Continental GT. Pretty incredible cars these are. W12 engine twin turbo, I believe. Belongs to someone interested in motorsport. Yeah. Quite the car. You get a lot of car for your money with one of those now. Over 20 years old, that is. Put a private plate on it, you would never really guess. Right, anyway, back to slightly older cars, and here we have a Ford Escort XR3i Cabriolet. So this is based on the Mark III Escort. It's got the telephone dial wheels. I remember I used to wash one of these. A neighbour had bought one of these new. I used to earn some extra pocket money washing his example. That was also in white. Unipart security system. Okay, let's carry on down this row. We have a Jaguar XK8, same year as the Bentley, on an 04. So this is probably the 4 litre version, I think. My youthful assistant keeps watching videos about buying these, so I'm beginning to get a little worried that he might end up with one of these after a couple of years or so. But again, like the Bentley, it's a lot of car for the money, and there are lots of parts around for these, so they're not impossible to run if you buy one with a good body on it, good mechanically. It's a very swish way of getting around. Next to that we have the Aston Martin, a DB7. So this one on an 02 plate. Very popular. These sold really well, I believe, for Aston Martin back in the day. I think based on XJS underpinnings, if I remember correctly. Now this is a car I've never heard of before. I don't think too many of these were made. This is a Calvi Mitchell. Yeah, obviously in the retro style, but much more recent build. It's got a twin cam badge on the side there. I mean, that badge is off an MGA twin cam. I'm guessing it's not an MGA twin cam engine in this. I can honestly say I've never seen one of those before anywhere. Nice colour, I like the colour of that. Right, okay. Merc here, let's have a look. It's an 07 plate, so this will be in the modern classics. Obviously we'll be mainly looking at the older cars that are coming up, as befits this, the old classic car channel, but we'll try and feature a bit of everything. And look at this glorious Sunbeam Alpine, a big fin model. I think this is a Series 2. So this was Roots Group answer, I suppose, to the MGB Roadster. Arguably a bit more stylish. Look at the fins on that. Later cars dispelled with they dispensed with rather the big fins on the later Alpines. But a very curvy roof as well. Shades of Thunderbird almost here. Big wraparound back window. Lovely curvy door glass. Is this one open? It is. Let's have a look inside. It's always a good place to look inside a car. It's inside the doors. That'll give you a good idea as to what a car is like. Yeah, very nice. Looks like a very original seating in it. Great dash. Interiors in Roots Group cars rarely disappoint. Very nice. Interesting alternative to an MGB Roadster. I would certainly think about having one of these. There we go. That shuts nicely. Yeah, that's a very handsome car, I think. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Have you owned one of these? Do you plan on buying one? Are you going to come and look at any of the cars going in to the auction at the weekend? Let me know in the comments your thoughts. It's always really good to see what you think of the cars that feature in these videos. Okie dokie, and next up in the lineup we have this Lotus Elise, I think. Our favourite colour of bright yellow. We like a bit of yellow here at OCC HQ. Great eye-catching car. Yeah, very neat indeed. Let's carry on down here. Mighty Mercedes S-Class. That is one impressive looking car. I wonder if the boot lid will give us any indication as to what engine variant that is. Often these are debadged. Oh, this one isn't. It's a 320 CDI 05, so again 20 years old. You just wouldn't believe that was a 20-year-old car. Looks to be in really, really tasty looking condition, that one. Next to that's the good old Jaguar XJS. There is the all-important V12 badge on the grille. Many of these were 6s, but yes, this is the V12. Wonderful, wonderful engine in these. Very unstressed. Really good engines. Kind of a 2+2. And these buttresses so distinctive. This is one of the pre-facelift cars. The slightly later XJSs had the different sort of more horizontal rear lamps, modified rear side windows, curvy side windows. And this is much closer to the original design. Of course, when the XJS came out, it was only available as a V12. The 6s would come a little bit later, and to begin with, they only had the fixed head coupe roof. The XJSC Cabriolet and later the convertible, they would come much, much later. But for a long time, all you could buy was a fixed head version of the XJS when they came out. What, about 1975, I think it was. But these make for a great cruiser. I think they're looking better and better as time goes along. Yeah, that's a pretty cool car. A V12 as well, what more do you want? Next up we have a 2005 Porsche, but my eye is drawn to this end of the row because here we have a lovely pre-war Riley Special. This is based on the Riley 12.4. Maybe it started out as a saloon. Lots of them were modified into specials and sports cars over the years. I love the tacho that reads backwards. That's probably out of a Jaguar. They look like Jaguar clocks to me. Yeah. So maybe this was built up in the 50s, possibly, something like that. Pre-selected gearbox here. As so many Rileys were fitted. Yeah, that's a good looking car. Some one-off specials can look a bit odd in the proportions, but this looks really nice. Nice large diameter spoked wheels on it. Curvy back. Lights from a mini estate. But they actually fit in pretty well. But the shape is really, really nice. That is a good looking car. It's got the engine turned dashboard panel as well. So that just all fits in perfectly. We've got the little Brooklands aero screens as well as the full size screen. So if you wanted to, you could fold this forward, but still have a little bit of protection offered by these little Brooklands screens here. Yeah, nice car, like that. That's a very handsome son of a gun. And here's an interesting one. It's 1930. This is a Morris Oxford 6. Got a handsome car, very original looking in the paintwork department. Many different shades, but I bet that would probably polish up. I bet there's a bit of a paint finish under there. Large sunroof. You always want to have a good look at the material on the sunroof and also check that the drains are clear. But yeah, what a handsome motor car that is. Complete with trunk on the back, a few extra lamps, probably fitted in the 1950s, I would have thought. Quite a big car. You see Morris Cowleys and the 4-cylinder Oxfords, the flat rad cars that replace the bullnose cars, but you don't see too many of these. The big old Oxford 6s. So it's a fairly unusual car. I don't know a great deal about these. Let's just see if the door is open. I love that. You move that and it operates the little catch inside there. So apparently I remember reading on the website that the previous owner of this car, who sadly is no longer with us, made a start on replacing the clutch. So the gearbox is out. So I'm thinking that's probably what I saw in the pallet over the back corner over there. So let's just have a look in here. Yeah. So the gearbox is out. Hope you can see that. What stage the clutch change got to, of course, I don't know. We've got an original supplying dealer. You probably can't quite see it, but there's a supplying dealer plaque on the dash there. So where this got up to in terms of the clutch swap, I'm not entirely sure. So you'd probably want to find out, speak to the office and find out what the story is with that. So there's a bit of reassembly to do with this. But lovely interior. I do like an old saloon. I believe the earlier versions of these were all steel, and then they swapped to steel and ash framing. So you got ash framing behind here. Certainly that door fits nice. There's no play anywhere in there. Just look at the fittings. This is the kind of thing I love about cars of this age. These beautiful, look at the little, it just operates the window winder. Look at the thought and the design that's gone into that. Just beautiful. They've got the door pulls there. So this is a pretty unusual car, actually. It needs a little bit of recommissioning, I would suggest. A bit of recommissioning, sort that clutch out and refit the gearbox. I'm told all the bits are there on the pallet. What you would want, I think I remember seeing actually that it does come with the original service manuals, which will be a big help in piecing that back together. But I love the interior. Looks like it hasn't actually been on the road for a little while. It's quite cobwebby in here. So it has got a bit of a barn find kind of vibe to it. And there's none the worse for that. But yeah, again, look at the beautiful appointments on the doors. Again, just need a little windy thing on the handle. But these have survived incredibly. I mean, what's this? 1930. So this is 95 years old now. Let's go and have a look around the other side at the driver's side. Yeah, plenty of room in there. It's actually quite a big car. Just have another look around the back just to get another look. Yeah, quite a hefty trunk. Because of course they didn't have any boots on these. You just have a rack on the back and a trunk mounted on it. Let's carefully open it. But again, look at the beautiful wear, the pattern are on there. This door is actually locked. There we go. What this is about here. Maybe it's quite a well-travelled car. Look at that hefty rear view mirror. I hope you can see that with a beveled glass. And a big opening sunroof as well. Yeah. That's where the gearbox will go. Yeah. It's got potential if you're after a bit of a fixer-upper. Right, okay. Next we will go and have a look at that little grey car that I just showed you a little teaser of earlier on in this video. And here we are. This is a wonderful Czech-built Tatra. If you like your rare cars, you've come to the right place. This is a Tatra T57 from about 1934, I believe. And this is a first series car, quite an unusual car, lots of quirky design elements to it. There is a boxer engine under this unusual front end. The Series 2 and 3 cars had a more conventional front end with a radiator and everything, but this is one of the first. Quite an unusual car, like I say. You can just see one of the cylinder heads there. Boxer engine, bit like, say, a Jowett Javelin, that kind of arrangement. Unusually, it has dual transverse leaf front springs, so you've got one down here going across to the side, and the other one is up there. It's a very, very novel looking car, but what a great thing that is. Apparently they spent many years in a museum in Prague. Came over here in more recent times. Look at the detail. Look at that. There's a Bosch hooter on there, the horn. What an incredible car. Twin spare wheels on the back. Nice little lamp on there. Rear hinge doors. Let's have a look inside, see if this one is open. We'll carefully open the door. And that opens lovely, no drop in that. Look at those seats. Wow. Quite interesting design. Yeah. Very cool. If you've never thought about getting a pre-war car, just do it. It might take a little bit more work, a little bit more research and a bit of effort to keep them on the road and keep going and learn how to drive them. But trust me, it can be worth it. They are fantastic. Yeah. And this is really cool. So it's like it's a 4-seater saloon, quite a small car. Look at the door handle. I love all that sort of thing, these old fittings. Wow, that just shuts. I think I'll have to do that again. Look at that. So I'm just pushing gently. Wow, that really is a treat. It must be the rarest car here, I would have thought, certainly in terms of survivors. And we've got a small Pyrene fire extinguisher on here. Of course, Pyrene is a make very well known to people who fitted old fire extinguishers to cars here in this country. But this one appears to be a French market Pyrene. Talk of Pompeii. Yeah. But yeah, nice little period fitting there. I like all that kind of thing. Super little marker lamps, or maybe indicator lamps there. I like that. Look at the little window. What a great little car. Take that to any classic or vintage car show and that would just stop the clock. That is probably my favourite car so far, and there have been some beauties already, including this 1912 Napier and the Bristol alongside it. But this is probably up there and probably my top 3. Like I say, I'll make my mind up when I've had a full walk around to see what's here. But that, and indeed that, would be certainly near the top of the list so far, but there are still plenty more cars to look at, so let's go and have a look. Next to that astonishing Tatra, which I can't take my eyes off, but I must, is a lovely Morgan, this very well presented car. A beautiful colour as well. It's on an 06, so it's quite late I suppose for a Morgan. A beautiful example. And look at this, when did you last see one of these? The Opel Monza, circa about 1984ish, on a B registration. Big handsome coupe. Very rarely see these. Sold alongside cars such as the Opel Manta, of course, but this was a much more expensive car. It's a manual as well, which I wasn't expecting. Yep, the Opel Monza. Definitely a rare sight now. Look at that. Looks very comfy in there, very agreeably comfortable, I must say. Yeah, pretty cool. Right, let's carry on over here to this row, headed up by a lovely powder blue MGB Roadster 3240PJ, presumably the original registration number. And this is an earlyish one because it has the pull door handles. Look at most MGBs and they have the sort of fixed handle and the press in little button, the spring loaded button, but on these the whole handle comes out. I think they replaced them with the later type probably for safety purposes, because they probably thought maybe cyclists or somebody could get impaled on those. So this is a feature of the fairly early MGBs. Of course the MGB came out in 1962, so I'm guessing that's probably the year of this particular car. Looks to be in lovely restored condition, also with a darker blue roof, which really complements the rest of the car. That looks really good. Obviously don't take my word for it, come and have a look for yourself, but you know, from what I can see, this is definitely a nice example. The sills, arches, all the places you'd normally check, the scuttle as well. Behind here are the castle sections. There's like a box section that runs under here. That's somewhere you have to look at on poor examples. Yeah, this one looks like the bee's knees, and then a great colour as well. Can we have a look inside? There we go. Always have to respect other people's property, of course. So it has two 6-volt batteries go behind the seat there. That's standard on MGBs, right through to the rubber bumper cars. They had two 6-volt batteries. Lovely interior in here. The sprung steering wheel, the blue vinyl seats. They look pretty original actually. They look great. Yeah, what a great car. You can see why MGBs are so popular. And that's always a good test. It's always a good indication of what the structure's like, whether it's on a convertible or an ash frame car. If the door's shut nicely, you're halfway there. But yeah, what a lovely looking car. Okie dokie, and we have another pre-war gem here. As you may have spotted, I do like my pre-war cars, and this is a fairly rare example of Austin 7. This is a fabric bodied saloon. Fabric covers the coachwork on these. This would have the 747cc little side valve Austin engine as fitted to all Austin 7s of the pre-war era. Looks nice and clean and tidy in here. Great little car, so popular in vintage events. You can use these for road runs, going to the pub, a bit of off-road trialling. Loads of parts around as well, so if you want to get a pre-war car, you know, Austin 7s should be near the top of the list really, because loads of support around, loads of advice around, spares, usually pretty easy to find. These and the Ford Model A are a great choice. Yeah, that's quite a rare little car, the top hat saloon as they tend to be called, because you've got a nice lofty bit of headspace there, so if you wear your hat then it won't fall foul of the headlining. So yeah, all looks pretty standard. At the front here, transverse leaf springing on these. Original registration number, that's good. That gets a big tick from me. Yep, the old Austin badge there, built at Longbridge down in Birmingham, down that way. Yeah, super little car, probably about 1930 or thereabouts, I would have thought. Okay, next to that, moving to somewhat later times, we've got an Austin Heath 3000. This is a Mark II, I think. I think it's got the wind-up windows. Yeah. So it's a Mark II. The Mark III had extra indicator next to the side lights below the headlights. Yeah, Mark II, there we go. Great car. BMC's straight six under the bonnet of that one. These sound glorious, especially if you ever see a rally prepared one with the side exiting exhaust under the passenger door, which sort of comes out down here. Yeah, lovely car. Collaboration between Donald Healey and the Austin Motor Car Company. Apparently these bodies were produced by Jensen, which is something I only found out fairly recently. Of course, Jensen also did the bodies on the early, like the Volvo P1800S, the Saint Volvo. Early cars of those with the cow horn bumpers were also bodied by Jensen until Volvo took production in-house. But yeah, these bodies were produced by Jensen on behalf of Austin and Healey. Very nice. I think the estimate on this one is sort of low 30s, that neck of the woods. But yeah, stunning car. Okay, we'll carry on here. Another Bentley here, another Continental GT, and a Rover P6 is next on an Earl registration. It's a 3.5 litre, or the 3005 as they used to refer to them as. This will be an automatic. The 35S had the manual gearbox. Perfect if your name is Faye. V8 3500. So the engine shared with the P5B. Interesting car, quite an advanced car for the day. Very usable. One of these would make a great daily driver. Nice inside. All very stylish, all very, I mean, even though this is an early 70s car, it's all very 1960s in here. And it's none the worse for that. Is that a Radiomobile or a Motorola radio? Can't quite see from here, but certainly a period radio, period wireless. Unusual colour as well, you don't tend to see them in that colour very often. One thing I like about these are the little telltales on here, which just act as a reminder that you can see from the driver's seat that you've left your side lights on. Although these, in some markets, I think, was it the Australian market, I think these had to be deleted because they thought there might be a safety issue with having these little pointy corners on the car, but not so in this country. Yeah. Nice, very usable car indeed, that I would have thought. Got a few more entries for the Modern Classics auction here. One of the later 6 Series BMWs, RS6 Audi Estate, and one of Crewe's finest here, the Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit. This a 1980s car. Of course, these replaced the Silver Shadow 2, produced for many years, and of course there was the Bentley version as well. But how agreeable does that look in there? Beautifully appointed cars. This one in dark blue, very similar, slightly lighter than the S-Class behind it. Let's have a quick peer in at the driver's compartment. Automatic, of course, all of these were automatic. Certainly a very agreeable place to waft around in. 6.75 litre V8 under the bonnet of there. Okay, and we have another Land Rover here on the 59 plate, so quite a late one. And at the end of this row we have the Daimler DS420 limousine. 420 because it had the 4.2 litre Jaguar XK engine under its long swoopy bonnet, and in fact these were actually based on the Jaguar 420G Saloon. I think it shared the underpinnings and the chassis with the 420G, which itself was a revised version of the Mark 10, the 3.8 litre Mark 10. They put the 4.2 in it and it became the 420G, and the chassis of that went on to live for many, many more years beneath these, the Daimler DS420. This one looks like it's seen a bit of use as a wedding car stroke limousine, and they are ideally suited to that. This one on a B plate, about 1984. That shows you just how long these were produced for, given that the 420G was built back in the 1960s. Let's see if we can... Very substantial doors. I never realised how heavy these doors are. Yeah, it all looks very Jaguarish around here, if you've ever owned a Jag. And this is sort of beginning to be familiar territory. XJ style gear changer there, automatic of course. Yeah, probably got a partition in there, I would have thought. Yeah, very, very comfy. Very agreeable. Almost an MPV. Yeah. That shuts nicely. Okay, and I mentioned commercial vehicles before, and behind this very sporty looking SL500 AMG Mercedes we have this, which is right up my street. An AEC Matador circa 1939. These were used throughout the Second World War. Then many of them went on to new lives in civilian hands after the war. They were sold off at government disposal auctions. That's probably what happened with this beauty here. Many of them went on to become timber tractors. This one has a flatbed body on it, off-road recovery. Lots of these had sort of Harvey Frost style recovery cranes on the back. Yeah. Lovely sign writing here for Graham Booth and family, Scarisbrick and Lancashire. Proper gold leaf lettering there. What a wonderful old thing that is. That is really, really lovely. That'll look nice on the drive. I wonder if it's open. So coach built, all ash frame in here. So we always have to have a good look around at that. Yeah, just as it would have been in the war really. Next to the AEC is this, a 124 series Mercedes-Benz. This is one of the facelifted 124s with a slightly smaller grille compared to the earlier 124s, the E-Class Mercedes. This is a C124. The S124 I think was the estate. We've had 4 of those over the years. So I do like this range of cars, the old E-Classes. These were very, very nicely put together. Not too many weak spots on these. So this would be the C124, the saloon was the W124. So which one's this? A 220. Yeah, real quality car these are. Looks good round here. Rough ones, you sometimes see them starting to go here. And if you buy one of these, make sure you lubricate the windscreen wiper arrangement. Just a big single central wiper on these, as you can see there. But they are prone, I can't remember if it's the linkages on the motor, it's prone to running a bit dry, and sometimes you end up having to replace the wiper motor. So that's a good tip if you're going to buy one of these. Just keep the mechanism behind there lubricated. I remember having to change the wiper motor on one of our estates. It wasn't the most fun jobs in the world, so that's a good bit of preventative maintenance. And one of the really quirky features of these 124 Mercedes is the fact that the passenger door mirror is a different shape than the driver's. These are squarer. If you look at that and then compare it to this one here, this one is a lot more rectangular. You might think, oh, maybe they've swapped the mirrors, one of them's been replaced with a mirror from another car, but no, that is correct for 124 Merc. Hopefully the camera is picking that up. Yeah, rectangular over there, much squarer over there. I'm not quite sure what this is, but looks like it'd be perfect for a run round Africa. Big crew cab. What a machine that is. Go on, what is it, an MAN? Perfect for an expedition perhaps. While here we have another modern classic Mercedes-Benz. This is a 190E. These are good cars as well, real quality car. Beautifully put together. That interior looks just as good as it did when it was built back in the 1990s. 118,000 miles, give or take. Auto box. Petrol and diesel versions of these were offered. This is a 190E, a 2.6. So that would be a great daily driver, that would. Still got the original supplying dealer sticker in the back window. I like that kind of thing, and also the plates as well. Yeah. Nice pair of modern classic Mercs there. One for the commute perhaps, and one for sunny days. And heading up the next row we have this much modified Land Rover. I'm guessing it was on a 64 registration, so I'm guessing there's a Series 2 or 2A under there. It's been fitted with the later wings to give you extra lamps, so you've got that Series 3 perhaps wings on here, because of course these all bolt together and unbolt, so they're a bit of a big Meccano set really. So you've got the original little lamps in there, although they've been replaced with LEDs, and LEDs outside here as well. Big winch. So it looks like this one has had quite an exciting life by the look of it. Got a snorkel here, so that'll enable you to go through flooded fords, that kind of thing. So this would be the air intake for the carburettor or carburettors. The idea being that the engine doesn't ingest water just by going through, so if you go through water that's sort of this level, you wouldn't want water coming through the radiator and into the engine via the air cleaner or the air intake. So hence you have a snorkel so that the air intake is way up here, hopefully out of harm's way. Looks like a bit of fun. And here, a bit of a work in progress. Another Mercedes. So what's this, a W... It's early 70s, isn't it? It's a W114 or 115. They both look the same. Alloy wheels. So what have we got? 220D. So it's a W115, this, on a G. So late 1969, there we go. Estimates are 3 to 5. A bit of a project for someone here. Got some glass in here as well. That would make quite a good classic rally car, wouldn't it? It's a diesel, maybe that might be not ideal for a rally car perhaps, but if you wanted a long distance rally car, perhaps to go rallying around Africa or something like that, maybe that would be a good basis for it. Right, and here we have another XJS, another V12, there's the all-important badge. And this is the full cabriolet version of the XJS. Pepper pot wheels on this example. Lovely blue, I think it's mohair hood. Beautiful looking car, I think. Yeah, very swish motor indeed. Auto box again. Did they still have the GM 400 gearbox at this point in time? I think they probably did. Lovely colour as well, that sort of bluey grey metallic, a bit like the old Ecuria Cos C-types and D-types of the 1950s. That is a lovely, lovely shade of blue. Yeah, very nice. Next to that we have a Mark II VW Golf. Looks like a 3-door GTI. Let's have a look around the back just to be sure. Scoot round here. Yep, Golf GTI. Still with the supplying dealer sticker in the back and the original plates there. Fun car there, the hot hatch. Talking of fun cars, we have this, a tin snail from the mid-1980s, or Citroen 2CV to give it a proper name. Looks like someone's been having a bit of fun with this. It all looks pretty sound in there. Of course you have to check the chassis on these. All the usual checks really. But yeah. Looks like fun. Bit of aging, bit of applied patina there. Very dark windows in the back. I wonder if it's got some, maybe they kip in the back, maybe that's sleeping accommodation. Quite possibly. Yeah, looks like a bit of a giggle. And over here, classic Range Rover. It's a 4-door car. And the split tailgate, of course. A Vogue SE. Yeah, these have got quite a following now. Next to that, a little Rover Metro, or is it the 100? Could be like a 114, possibly. Yeah, Rover 100, there we go. Again, original plates on the back, ride, over on the Isle of Wight. So I wonder if this is fairly low mileage. It's a Knightsbridge limited edition. So the final, pretty much the final incarnation of the classic Austin Mini Metro, really, I suppose. They evolved into this, what you see here now. What the mileage is. Let's see if we can have a quick look at the mileage. This takes me back, Mum had one of these. 21,725 on the gauge. Obviously you'd have to check to see if that's original, but it could well be, especially if it's been on the Isle of Wight for quite a few years, because you wouldn't do a great deal of mileage driving around the island. Yep, original plate on the front as well. So that's definitely one to preserve, that is. Okay, next up we have MG Midget over here. A Lotus Elise over here in red. And how about this, a Lancia Beta? These didn't have the best reputation of cars in the 1970s. This one is certainly a bit of a project, bit of a work in progress perhaps. But a rare car now. Certainly one that's worth rescuing. Very stylish looking car. Quite cool inside as well, these. Let's see if the door's open. Yep, the door is open. Wow, how sporting does that look? Incredible colour. Wow. Who remembers these? Who's got one of these now? Can't be too many of these around. And continuing with the classic Lancia theme, we have this much earlier car. This is a Lancia Aurelia. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. This car dates to 1951. V6 engine fitted to these. It's a real sporting saloon, and look at those wonderful headlamp lenses there. Incredible Corello lamps fitted to these, but what a beauty that is. Can't remember the last time I saw one of these, especially the four-door saloon, or Berliner as they would have been called. Lovely detailing on Italian and indeed French cars of this era. And look at that beautiful little lens there. What a stylish car this is. So you've got the rear hinged back doors, front hinged front doors. Look at this. Isn't that just so stylish? There we go, so just open that out. No centre pillar on these. Look at that. How cool is that? What an incredible car. So no centre, no B pillar at all on these. How airy and spacious is that, but it's beautiful inside. Headlinings looks very original, but I won't worry too much about that. But great dashboard. What a treat to sit behind that gaggle of instrumentation. Absolutely glorious car that is. That is a real Bobby Dazzler. I won't slam the door. But looks like it's had a roof rack or something maybe at one point in time. It'd certainly suit it. Yeah, what a beautiful looking car. Let's just stand back and have a proper look at it. Yes, a 1951. Very streamlined styling on these. Lovely slim radiator grille on these with a Lancia badge. That really is a special car. So V6. I bet that sounds glorious. Let's just have a quick look in here. Carefully open the door. Wow. Look at the dials in there. The body coloured dashboard. The dainty horn push on the steering wheel there. Badge in the centre. Original lap belts. Yeah, that really is a stunning car. It's interesting actually that this one, like the Morris Minor we looked at before, is on a much later registration number, so I'm guessing this was probably registered here in the UK in the early 1990s. But I'm sure it'd be pretty easy to put this back onto a more age-appropriate, age-related registration number, and that would look just perfect. The proper old style plates with a proper old number on it would just be the icing on the cake. But this is definitely a special, very special little car indeed. I do like that. And next to that we have the wedgy Volvo 700 series. Is this a 740 or a 760? Not entirely sure, but I remember buying a 760 GLE estate many years ago when we were moving house. I think I paid £125 for it. So this is a 740 GL. So I think this is the 4-cylinder car. Very nearly vertical rear window on these, very American market inspired styling on these. Looks to be in very nice condition, the original wheel trims. Good car, good driving car. Again, huge windows, really nice and easy to see out of for parking. I always think that's an important thing when looking at a car. I like to be able to see out. Incredible interior. Looks like new in there. This was built back in the, was it on an E, about sort of 87, 86, 87, that sort of era. Yeah. Good car for someone there. Again, doors shut beautifully. That's always a really good sign. Now, as mentioned, there's also going to be a few classic two-wheelers going into the auction at the weekend, or starting at the weekend. Pretty groovy little single-seater down here. But look at these. The Velo Solex. Two examples of the French Velo Solex. Bit of project work there for someone. Engine hung out over the front wheel. Quite a funky thing. So this is one of the slightly later ones with a squarer section down tube. The earlier ones are like this. This is the swan neck frame on this one. More almost circular tubing. So different to the later Velo Solex. Yeah. Pretty groovy. If you saw the Mr. Bean film where he was in France, you might remember him riding along fairly slowly on one of these in the film. Yeah, so this, I think this engages the drive onto the front wheel. Quite fun things, lots of spares around for these, so yeah, a bit of a fun project. Don't take up too much room, you could fit a few of these in the shed. Not sure what the estimates are on those, but again, all details will be on the site. What have we got over here? A little Honda, a Royal Enfield, one of the later build Royal Enfields, I think. Honda CB200. There's a 400 over there. Little monkey bike down there. And a mighty Kawasaki over here on the end. Now, Mini time over here. The one on the right is a Morris Mini Minor. Bit of a project car there, Mark 1. It's on the D plate, so 1966. Yeah, plenty to do, but these Mark 1 Minis are super popular. Is this actually a fitted? I don't think I'll try lifting the bonnet, but there is an engine in there. Obviously you'll have to check for all the paperwork, ID, all that kind of thing, make sure the plates are in there, but yeah, interesting project for someone. Tiny little A-series engine transversely mounted in these. Of course, that engine started out life under the bonnet of the Austin A30, but pointing the opposite way, fore and aft, just as it was fitted in so many cars, the A40 and the Morris Minor. But in the Mini, it was mounted transversely on top of the gearbox. Very similar setup in the Austin and the Morris 1100 as well. There's the radiator just over on the side over there. Very neat little cars. Plenty to keep you occupied here, but definitely worth doing. And next to that we have a Mark II Mini, so it's still with the sliding door glass and the external hinges. So that's Mark 1, this is Mark II, but the giveaway is you've got the larger rear lights on the Mark II compared to the Mark 1, but you still have to be careful because sometimes you see later cars that have been made to look like Mark 1s. With Mark 1 you can get a conversion panel to fit the smaller back lights onto later Minis, but that's correct for a Mark II. Hinge down number plate, so that if you run with the boot lid open, because it's bottom hinged, so if you run with the boot lid open and some bags or cases stacked up on there, the number plate hinges out so you can still view it from behind. Yeah, also a Morris Mini Mark II. Again, a bit of a project, but everything's doable. You can buy everything pretty much for a Mini if you look hard enough. So I wonder what they'll sell for. Let me know your guesses in the comments. Okay, and behind the two Minis we have Ford Escort RS 2000. This one on a V registration. Very smart example in our favourite colour, yellow. Two-door car, as all the RS 2000s were. This one, these had the droop snoot front end on them. Give them a very distinctive look indeed. Super popular cars, these fast Fords. And next to that we have another example of a 114 or W115 Mercedes saloon of the early 1970s. So we saw that white diesel car just over the back over there. And here we have a car that's a bit more altogether. Quite a handsome looking car, quite understated, but I do like this era of Merc saloon. Echoes of a Bond baddie, James Bond baddie. They often used to drive these in the early 70s. This one apparently is a 250. Lovely, they're really well screwed together cars these. Everything is just substantial. A substantial door handle. Everything about them is just quality. Look at the quality, the chrome plated door catch fittings here. Everything is just really nice. Not flashy or ostentatious, but just really well put together. It's actually very nice in here. Yeah. That just, I might have to do that again. Yeah, that closes really well. Okay, still plenty more cars to go. Got a Mark IV Golf here. And look at this restoration project spec MGA, the fixed head coupe. Probably quite a late example of the breed with this stepped back grille. Most of the MGAs, you see the grille bars, they go down to here. But these late examples are sort of much more vertical, and you've got this step, this ledge here. So that's usually a sign. I mean, obviously you could probably mix and match between the cars, but that's usually a sign that you're looking at a fairly late one. Got a distinctive VW registration number on this one. Whether that's still on, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, quite an interesting project for someone here. Would have had a 1600 badge on there. Early cars were 1500. Later ones were 16. Twin carbs, B series engine. There we go, 1600. Nice looking car. I prefer the styling of the coupes to the convertibles, if I'm honest. Some passes there for the University of Glasgow, 1972 to 3 and 3 to 4. Triplex laminated screen. Nice project for somebody here. Looks like it's been stored in an outbuilding somewhere, but lovely original plates. I do hope they survive on it, because they look just wonderful. Quite novel door handles on these as well. Carefully, gingerly open it. I mean, it's pretty grimy, it's barn find spec, but actually I think this has probably got the makings of a very nice project car. Very cosy in here, very comfy interior. Yeah, I like that. I think they're a really nice shape, these cars. Hopefully someone will take this one on. British Field Sports Society. Yeah, that's got the makings of a very interesting project. Again, like MGBs, you can get pretty much anything for them, and if you're doing the work yourself, it could be a very viable project. Right, okay, and next to that we have another XK8 over here, probably another 4-litre car. Yep. I guess that'll be in the modern classic sale. Next to that, a Morris van. And who doesn't love a classic van or pickup? This is quite a late one, it's on the K, so about 1971 off the top of my head. Yeah, very characterful old things these are. Separate chassis on these, of course, unlike the saloons, which were monocoque or unibody construction. But the vans and the pickups, they have a separate box chassis. It's always worth having a good look at those underneath. Yeah, great fun little thing. And who remembers these? The Hillman Avenger. I think this one's been tuned up a little bit. But a rare sight now. Very few of these still around. It's got an 05 tax disc in the window. So velologists out there, i.e. people who collect tax discs, will like a bit of that. There we go. Hillman Avenger DL 1500. Coincidentally, we were at a show just a couple of days ago, and there was an immaculate automatic version of one of these turned up, which will feature in a video here on the channel before too long. I think this one's been used for a bit of clubby motorsport, but looks pretty original otherwise, but a rare survivor now. You very rarely see those in any condition now. Next to the Avenger we have this super shiny black Mini. Very smart little car indeed, on a G registration. Yeah, looks very nice, complete with pop-up sunroof. There's a Haynes manual in there as well. Looks like it's taken part on some of the mini runs a few years ago now. Yeah, nice. Very tidy looking little car indeed. And we have a military spec Landy alongside that. Peugeot 306 Cabriolet. A stylish little car now. Bit of info in the window. Like I say, by the time the viewing day comes around in a few days' time, I think most of the cars will probably have some info in the windows. This is a 94. So it's like 30 years old now. Very sharp looking car, that one. Next to that we have a Mercedes-Benz SLK and another magnificent Aston Martin V12 BJL, the registration number of that one. Yeah, that is one handsome car in one of my favourite colours. To be honest, I love a dark blue metallic. Yeah, it's a DB7 Vantage, no less. Oof. What a beauty that is. Yep, that is one handsome car. And over here, a BMW Z3. I remember having one of these years and years ago, a 2.8 we had. I think this is a 4-cylinder car. This is another car that my youthful assistant has been making some noises about. He's been watching videos on YouTube about BMW Z3s and Z4s. And he is pondering whether to buy one of these maybe after 2 or 3 years of driving. And they're a good old car. Still pretty affordable in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. It's nice to see that one here today. Alright, those don't count, they're not in the auction. And here we have a Mercedes-Benz, it's an E-Class, I think it's a 230E, I think. This is the W123 series car. I would very happily run one of these as a daily. If I had a daily commute, one of these would definitely be on my shopping list. Pretty much indestructible. You obviously have to check the arches on them a bit and just have a general poke around, but by and large they're pretty much bomb-proof. This one's an auto. Yeah, lovely. Real quality bit of kit. I bet if we open the door, again you'll see all these beautiful chrome plated fittings, all good round here. You know, wind up windows, so less to go wrong. Yeah. Sliding steel sunroof with one of those Perspex wind deflectors. I remember Dad had one of those on his Saab in the 1980s. Yeah, like that. And next to that we have another Mini, this one looking a little happier than the two restoration projects we saw before, a lot later this one. This is a Mini City, still with the original wheel trims. That's good to see. It's nice to see Minis that are pretty much original, because so many of them get tuned up obviously. But it is nice every now and again to see one that is as it came out of the Austin Rover garage all those years ago. This one looks really nice actually. Now we are back to projects, and if you fancy a project, well, a Jaguar E-Type wouldn't be a bad place to start. This is a Series 2, I think, yep, Series 2 E-Type Roadster. It's left-hand drive. A huge, gigantic bonnet of the E-Type shown there, half raised. So this will have the 4.2. Well, I say, originally it would have had a 4.2 straight 6 in it. This one looks like it's been re-engined. That's a conversion that happened quite a lot in America back in the day. I'm sure whoever restores this will put an original engine back in. I'm not sure if this bonnet, yeah, it's a bit tight, so I'm not going to try lifting it up. So we've got a V8 in there. So what's that? Chevy, is it a 350? I don't know my American V8s very well, but I'm sure some of you watching this will know, so please pop a note into the comments. But yeah, big American V8 in there. A lot of people in America, a lot of mechanics, garages, they were never, a lot of them weren't keen at all on working on European cars. But this, I guess, would have made it a lot more usable, possibly a bit more reliable even, I'm sad to say. But it wouldn't sound right. So yeah, I assume this one will get re-engined. Yeah. Quite an interesting project, and I wonder if it'll be converted to right-hand drive during the restoration. Do I try? Let's just try and open it. It's a bit stiff on the hinges, so we won't push that. But I can just have a quick peer in through the gap there. Yep, so manual transmission, left-hand drive, 6-cylinder car originally. Yeah, a couple of weekends work there, but it'll definitely be worth it. There you go, the E-Type Jaguar 4.2. Looks like it's had one or two repaints over the years, as so many of these cars have. What a great project. If you know bodywork, know paintwork, that kind of thing, what a rewarding job it would be bringing this one back to life. Amazing. Massachusetts, there we go. Massachusetts Motor Vehicle Certificate of Inspection. We got a date, 1997. So I wonder when it came off the road. Yeah, looks like a fun project, looks like all the bits are there. Obviously you'll have to source a straight 6, but they can't be too hard to find, I wouldn't have thought. Yeah. Interesting project for somebody there. The duo of Land Rovers over here. This one, an ambulance, circa 1965, based on a Series 2A. Yeah, that'll make a good camper, wouldn't it? You could sort of kip in the back. I'm sure that's what's been done with it. Could easily fit a mattress in the back of there. And you've got your own accommodation for staying over at a show. So what could be better than that? Very, very usable machine. But as you might be able to tell, my attention is being drawn that way because, ooh, look at this little Fiat. Wow. So I'm guessing would this have been the bigger brother to the little Topolino? I think this is a Fiat 508C, I believe, dating to 1938. So just late pre-war. Looks to be in super original condition, right-hand drive as well. Oof, be still my beating heart, how lovely is that? Corello lamps. Yes, there's some very interesting Italian cars in this auction coming up. Isn't that lovely? It's a 4-door saloon. Again, like the little Lancia that I was looking at just over the back there. So the rear doors are rear hinged and the fronts are front hinged. Very dainty little handle for getting into the rear compartment. So that's that. Lift the handle to get in the front, and again, pillarless construction. Wow. Isn't that just a super little car? Wow, I love that. It's like a Fiat Topolino, but just with a bit more space in it. This is a 508C. Now, is it the Balilla? Apologies for my pronunciation. But that's how it's spelt, Balilla. Yeah, it all looks super untouched in here. I wonder where this one's been hiding all these years, but yeah, right-hand drive. So that's a bit of a Brucey bonus. Looks like the original carpet's in here as well. Wow. Little glove box there. A couple of little bits and bobs inside. But yeah, wow. Isn't that just a super little car? I love this pillarless construction. Well, I say pillarless, no B-pillar, where you'd normally find a pillar in the middle there. But that is just gorgeous. Just carefully put those two again. Yeah, they actually open and close beautifully. See if we can just stand back and get the shape. Yeah. What a super little car that is. So have a look round the back, have a quick look round here. So you could fold back the roof on one of those rare sunny days. Spare wheel on the back panel here. Yeah, what a little sweetheart that is. Whew. That would be such a delight to bring back to life, just to clean that up. It's quite dusty, full barn find spec, maybe out of a garage, but that would just be a real treat to give that a sympathetic clean up. and get it back into running order. I don't know if it runs, maybe it does run. I'm not sure, but let's have a quick look inside here again. Beautiful doors, no dropping. Original door trims. Steps are good. Whew. Steering feels pretty good. Yeah, wouldn't this be a lovely little car to pop out on a Sunday afternoon in? Door shut lovely, and you can be pretty guaranteed that you wouldn't see another one at any show that you went to outside of a pre-war Fiat event. But yeah, what a treat. Okay, let's continue our troll down the last of the rows, but there are some vehicles outside as well, so we'll head outside there if it's not raining. Got another 7 Series BMW here, another E38. These were introduced back in the 1990s. This is the same colour as the one that Dad had several years ago now. And here we have an Anglia, Ford Anglia Super. That looks like a neat little car. Looks like it does a bit of historic rallying. Got some nice, slightly wide steelies on there. Got some timing gear on the dash, I think. It's been used in a few rallies in recent times. It's got all the timing gear on the dash. Got some very comfy seats in there, non-original seats. A bit of added support. Yeah, so it's on a C plate, so it's an Anglia Super. So does that make this the 123E as opposed to the 105E? I think it probably does. What a great looking little car this is. What a lot of fun you could have with that. Got some CB Oscars on the front. There we go. CB. There's a pair of those. That's actually a really nice little car, that. Yep, very nice. And here, another Land Rover Series 2A. And in the end, an Alvis, a TA21, I believe. So similar age to, like, maybe that little MGYA saloon. More upmarket these were, of course, but similar age to that, probably beginning of the 1950s, I would have thought. 52, round about that age, I would imagine. Real quality cars. Just look at that gorgeous interior. The headlining is beautiful, isn't it? Very swish indeed. Some really great cars here today, but let's head outside and see what we can find out there. And what do we have waiting for us out here but another magnificent ex-World War II vehicle. This, from the same home it would seem, is a Scammell Pioneer circa 1941. Incredible tow vehicles these are. Just proper heavy engineering. This one with a recovery crane on the back. These would have been used for heavy haulage in the Second World War, towing huge tanks, guns, all that kind of thing. Sims, commercial vehicle lamps on the front there. That'll be the air cleaner, I think. Not sure if the door's open. Let's just try it. Yes, there we go. Wow, look at the cockpit in there. I'll just swing the camera around just to have a quick shufty at this. I bet this would have a few tales to tell if it could talk. I wonder what the history is of this. What a super bit of kit. Now that would look nice on the drive. There's a few other odd vehicles dotted around. Just check the catalogue to see if they are actually part of the next auction. This is quite an unusual four-wheel drive Nissan based camper van. Complete with much seating inside. I spy another Jaguar XJS, another V12 according to the badge. This one's got the American spec twin circular lamps either side. Again, it's a pre-facelift car with the original design of rear buttresses. And over here we have MGB GT. This is one of the recessed grille versions, just like Dad's. This one on a J registration, bit of a work in progress. It looks like it just wants a bit of finishing off. And we've got a Herbie spec Beetle over here. This is an L registered example. A little Reliant van in the livery of Trotter's Independent Trading Company. Complete with very appropriate seat covers in there. Lovely jubbly. And over here a little bit more Land Rover action, including this one which looks to be in the livery of... that colour scheme reminds me a bit of the RAF or possibly the Royal Navy. By the way, very neat little vehicle, complete with rack on the roof. While we're here, let's just have a quick look at these two over here. Again, I'm not quite sure if these are in the next auction or another sale, but interesting nevertheless. This is a Bedford CF. Right next to the A49 here, so nice and easy to get to. The auction, like I say, the auction vehicles registration and bidding starts and opens on Saturday the 15th of February, so just in a few days. Oh, there's a Series 3 XJ just drove past. Yeah, opens just in a few days on Saturday, and the auction runs online until next Wednesday. All the details are on the Brightwells auction website. This is quite a neat little pickup. It's back inside, so I guess it's now time to start thinking about which are the three favourite cars. Which three would I most like to offer a home to? There are some gorgeous cars here. Restoration projects, restored cars, good users, some needing a bit more recommissioning than others, including this MGA fixed head coupe. But which three cars are my own personal favourite? And of course, let me know in the comments which yours would be. But I have to say, and this might not come as a great surprise, just about on the top of the pile for me is this wonderful little Fiat. I just love that. If I had the space in the garage and a few bob down the back of the sofa, I think I would be taking a very close look indeed at this delightful little slice of Italian motoring history. Looks like it's probably an older restoration perhaps, but I think that would clean up very agreeably. Some lovely lamps. The grille, it's quite a prone grille. There's no bumper on these, so it'd be so easy to damage that grille, but this one looks to be in really nice condition, so I think this just would be certainly in my top three, possibly in pole position. But also I was very taken with this incredible 1934 Tatra. I've never seen anything like this before, and I would definitely love to offer this one a home as well. What a great looking car, so quirky and idiosyncratic and lovely condition it would seem. Obviously I've not heard it run, I'm only going off what I'm seeing. I've not been underneath any of these cars, heard them run, checked the engine or anything like that, but just going from first impressions, this would also be right up there with that little Fiat 508C. So really I just need to pick one more to put in my top 3 wish list. I'm certainly quite intrigued by this mighty Morris. Whether I want another project car, that's really the thing that I've got in the back of my mind. Do I need to buy a car that needs an element of parts refitting? Not quite sure, but this is well up there. Certainly the Fiat, certainly the Tatra, possibly this, but maybe even ahead of this. Not the little Austin 7, sweet as it is, or the glorious Austin Heat. I mean, there's so many things to choose from, but this Lancia Aurelia, this has to be in my top 3. So yeah, I think those 3 would be my choices from this particular auction, and if I had a bottomless pit of funds, I'll be having a very close look at these 3. So the Fiat 508C just over there, this glorious Lancia, and the Tatra just over there next to that equally impressive Napier, which should also really be in my top 3, but well, you have to draw a line somewhere. Maybe I should make it top 5 and then I can include this wonderful old Bristol. Maybe I'll do that. So in which case we'll include the Bristol, and well, I have to also include this. So those are my top 5 choices. Let me know in the comments please which car or cars really float your boat. It's always really interesting to read your comments and your thoughts on the cars that feature in these particular videos. Please let me know if you'd like me to try and do more auction walkarounds like this. It's always great fun to look around and idly imagine buying one or more of the cars that are on display. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this particular video of the February 2025 upcoming auction, classic car and modern classics auction here at the Brightwells Auction Centre down just on the outskirts of Leominster in sunny Herefordshire. A big thanks to everyone at Brightwells for letting me come down here and record this video. Really appreciate that. Thank you for that. And yeah, please keep an eye on the channel for many more videos which are lined up for the upcoming weeks. So bye for now.